Welcome to the DreamHack PUBG Showdown, coming to you live from Austin, Texas. Now, yesterday we had a bit of a laugh, didn't we? We had Doc and Shroud and the community face off them versus 30 duos won by Shadow Fudge, and they will be heading to DreamHack Winter in Jönköping. They get an all-expenses-paid trip for their troubles. Doc and Shroud, they did come in a respectable second, but now the serious stuff begins. We've got 16 pro teams ready in the pens behind us, about to draw blood from each other and do battle. They're all in it for a share of a $100,000 prize pool, with the winner taking 50,000 sweet dollars home. I'm Frankie Ward, and I'm joined by Toffee and Avenger on the panel. Boys, welcome back.
Thanks, good to be back. We got to cut our teeth yesterday with some fun community content. Shroud and Doc, tear people limb from limb. But we also saw some really good players and some cool stories. We saw the future of PUBG, a couple of 14-year-olds coming in 6th place. So it was really cool to see the community tournament, but I am super hyped to finally get in front of the pros.
Yeah, I can't agree more here. I'm very excited to see who's going to take the win, of course. We've got 12 games ahead of us, and also the format's been leading up to this. I've been doing the qualifiers together with Sims, and it's been super exciting, and I'm so happy to be here.
I mean, you must be relieved, actually, because one of those days during the qualifiers, you had 10 rounds, NA and EU. So this must be a walk in the park for you, Avenger.
I mean, we've been here for some time, but just happy to be here, and if we're doing this for 15 hours, then I'll still be here.
Now, we're going to have 12 rounds over the next 2 days, and our teams are going to need to get aggressive because there are 12 points per kill and 400 for the first placed team. But before we get into more details about that, I think we should have a look at the prize breakdown, because big dollars, 5K to each team that's actually already qualified, so no one goes away home empty-handed. First place AUC, $50,000. You can do quite a bit with that, can't you, boys? Yeah,
no, it's awesome. So 50 grand goes a very long way, obviously. But to me, it's really exciting that 9 through 16 gets to walk out with 5,000. That's teams who came here maybe through the BYOC, and we'll talk about them a little bit later. But these guys who really have invested a lot in sort of working their way up in the PUBG ranks, this can actually give them the boost they need to keep playing aggressively, maybe take a little bit of time off to focus on the next tournament.
Yeah, they had some qualifiers. So just coming here and already winning money just by grinding here or in the online qualifiers, it's a good thing. I think it's a good format.
Absolutely.
Now, the reason we are delayed today, and thank you everyone who's stuck by, and thank you for your patience, in fact. We've had some issues with the BYOC. Some of our players have had a very long day indeed, but 5 of them from the BYOC have qualified, and they're currently scrimming and getting their hands warmed up in the pen. So I think we should take a look at who those teams are. And don't forget, of course, we had 5 teams, in fact, sorry, qualify from EU, 5 from NA, 1 from SA, South America. That is Team Secret. Yep. With our boy Papaya. And now we've got our 5 BOC teams. So let's have a look at who they are.
These are the big 16 to make it through. The 5 on the bottom are BYOC. For those of you watching at home, that's bring your own computer. These guys wanted to be here so much. They came in, they brought their equipment with them and played all day. It's Optic Gaming, Nova Esports, Totality, Space Station Gaming, and one of my favorites, somebody I'm excited to watch today, Godrez.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Godrez and these boys from the Bayern, they've had some rough times. It's been a long day for them. So coming here early and winning going through as a top 5 teams, I think that's very exciting, but they're going to be having more rough times than the other teams. So
the question you ask yourself, though, is, so obviously you think it's a difficulty, right? Yeah. Starting so early, being tired. The other question I have is the teams that got invited here, they're coming in cold. They haven't played for a couple of days. They have done a couple of scrims to warm up a little bit, but they haven't been really in a competitive environment. These BYOC players have been fighting tooth and nail right up until almost 2 or 3 hours ago. So these guys are ready. They've got really blood on their hands, and they're ready to bring it. So I think it might actually be an advantage for them.
Avenger, can I ask you before we see the standings, as someone who has played on LAN before, which one would you prefer? Would you prefer to come in cold or have played for hours?
I mean, depending on how long the day is and everything, of course you can extend your awake time. You can drink some energy, some Monster, whatever you want to do. I would probably prefer coming in hot and being in. You've played all day. You already communicate with the team. You've gotten used to being at LAN. You're kind of like having these LAN jitters. So I'd kind of prefer coming in from the qualifiers. Also, it's much more exciting to come in because you're proud already to make it thus far. Getting this badge around their their neck and everything. It's just a very proud moment for them.
Well, let's take a look at the standings. Obviously, no one's actually played yet, so then no points are on the board. As I mentioned earlier, 12 points per kill. Placement in first is worth 400 points. Second, 300. Third, 240. Fourth, 200, and so on and so forth. Or yada yada, as our producer Martin would say.
I mean, when you look at the score, what's important to me comes in at kills, 12. Look at third and fourth. The difference between third and fourth in points can be negated completely by wiping one squad. So if you can get squad wipes, if you make early rotations, even set traps, find them and catch them off guard, that allows you to net a full level, basically, from kills, plus you've knocked out another team. So you will essentially pick up 2 placement points for every squad wipe, which I think these teams are going to be aware of, and I expect aggressive games.
Now let's talk about the teams that did qualify. Obviously very NA heavy, given that we're on Austin, Texas, the EU versus NA, and of course SA. I'm really interested to see this clash. What are you guys expecting?
You know,
Who are you looking out for?
I asked some of the teams if there's a hometown advantage to being from North America, and a lot of them said they don't think so. They think that everybody's a really good community, and it's really just going to come down to who's here to play the best. I'm looking to see, I think, Vitality come out of the gate very, very strong. They've got a lot to prove after the qualifiers. They didn't make it through to PGI. This is their first chance to get back on stage and say, hey, this is the game that we play, and really show us what they can do.
Avenger?
I think Liquid is going to come out strong. They always have a really good first day, and I mean, after the horrendous PGI tournament they had, not horrendous, they got 6th, they had to get top 5 to qualify. For this, they unfortunately didn't, so they're coming here for blood.
Well, you guys at home, we'd love to know what you think. So in Twitch chat, we've got some hashtags and some amended team names for you to vote for your favorite. You'll be able to see them on screen right now. So for example, if you think that FaZe are going to take that first round, hashtag FaZe in Twitch chat, please. We're going to be revealing what you guys think very soon. But boys, what are you doing?
My hashtagging.
We're live. We're live right now.
Oh.
So put your phones away, because I'm going to ask you instead live who you're predicting to take that first round. Toffees?
Right. So you know what? I'm going to stand by my Vitality pick, and here's the additional reason. Not only are they coming in hot to this with something to prove, Vitality traditionally does better in the first couple of games of the day. They're a team that's really good coming in fresh, a little bit cold, and they perform well. And then as the day goes on, sometimes they get a little fatigued.
Avenger, I'm going to get you to hold that thought. We're gonna leave if you're wanting more. We're gonna get your prediction after this video. It's the Pittsburgh Knights. Let's find out more about them.
I'm Jace Petrus, known as Voxic, and I'm a player for the Pittsburgh Knights. My role on the team is the IGL/sniper, so I'm kind of in the back line while the other 3 members are up front.
My name is John Texas Ozimir. I play for the Pittsburgh Knights. My role is mostly aggressive player. I go up front, mostly with Chroma.
This is definitely a really big achievement for the team. Coming into it, we had a new roster, so we're definitely really confident and excited coming in and qualifying.
We played against most of the teams online, so we're not scared of anyone in here, and we definitely prepare for it.
Our play style as a team it's a little bit in the middle, because we like to make aggressive plays when we have the opportunity to, but we know when to fall back and play safe.
We're going to win this tournament based on our consistency. We qualified for this event without a single win, and that proves that the consistency is key.
I'm going to be the top 3 from the fraggers for this tournament. Pretty confident about that, since we are pretty aggressive.
I definitely can say that at the end of the tournament, we're going to be the one saying, winner, winner, chicken dinner.
We're going to win this tournament, for sure.
The Pittsburgh Knights there feeling pretty confident. Texas expecting to come in the top 3 fraggers. He's been part of this roster for 15 days, Toffee. Can they do it?
I mean, you've played at this level before. Is this something where somebody comes in and is good to go within 15 days?
I mean, Texas already have a lot of experience. He's the only player to have qualified for 3 lands. He qualified with 3 different teams as well. He qualified by EM Oakland with the old Crimson lineup. He played in Global Loot League, won the NA Global Loot League with another team, Ronin, and now he's here with Pittsburgh Knights. So he's the most qualifying player in PUBG, and he's a fantastic fragger, so I 100% believe so.
And he's got the confidence, right? He literally just said on the video to all of us, not just to me, not just to you, but to everybody here and everybody watching, I'm going to be in the top 3 fraggers in this tournament. That takes a big set to be willing to make that claim. So I think anybody with that kind of confidence is going to do really well. And these guys have a mentality that I think is really strong. I asked them about the training. They said, we train to win, and we refuse to get distracted by any excuses. So it doesn't matter if they have an error in the game or they feel like they're struggling with a connection or something's going on with the team. They get 3 guys in, they don't make an excuse. They say, this is the scenario we're working with, and we're going to win with the scenario every single time.
Are there any teams that you think are going to counter the Knights particularly well?
I think that I have to see how they play. I mean, 15 days, the upside of Texas and his skill level is he comes in fresh and he's going to do really well. The downside is we haven't had a lot of chances to see him, and I think that's going to work in their favor. These other teams are also sort of dealing with a wild card. He brings some aggression. He brings some heavy fragging to the team, so we're going to see an inevitable change to the Knights' typical play style. Well, let's introduce No expense spared here at DreamHack Austin. Now, if you're watching yesterday, you'll be familiar with Toffee's superpower, which has been enabled by a shiny, shiny screen that costs more than hiring me for 3 days, to be perfectly honest. Should we have a look? Introduce us to the map, Toffees. So this, I guess we'll call it Frankie 2.0, since that's the way you put that. We're going to use this throughout the game today. Our idea is we want to sort of help re-encap some fights for you guys, let you know about rotations, what we expect, so we can sort of add and bring things to this. So for instance, talking about places like Pachinki, where we expect one team to go commonly, but if there ends up being a hot drop there, then I can walk you through exactly how a team like, well, we saw Method do it a couple weeks ago, can use boxing strategies to claim it as their own. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with this throughout the day. We're not gonna do too much with it right now. We're using it for a lot of good breakdowns, but I think it's gonna be fun and add a little bit extra to the broadcast. Now, before we got onto Frankie 2.0, the new improved me, let's face it, yes, switched it, I'm asking for that. Avenger, I wanna get your prediction now, because we've already heard from Toffees. He's saying Vitality, what are you saying?
I mean, I'm also gonna stay with Liquid here. I talked with the guys, and Ibiza, he said, I'm not excited. I'm just here to play the game. I want to win. And again, they're a good first day team. I predict them going against Naya. I'm not sure if they're going to be countered there or anything, but they're not afraid. I talked to them. Ibiza was at the toilet, so I actually sit in the duo a bit with Scoom just to get some insights.
So were you in the loo together?
Yeah, of course.
Sharing a cubicle?
Yeah, of course. Making sure that the chair was warm and everything, so just to get some insights from them.
So you basically been warming up his hands before we got going?
No. I was warming, I was keeping the mouse warm and the chair warm.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You really want to be on Team Liquid, don't you? I can tell. You're itching to get back in those pens. Maybe at the end of the weekend, we'll let you have a play.
Maybe.
But for now, we need to save it for the big boys. Let's have a look, actually, and see what you guys at home thought. Who have you voted for? It's going to come up on screen. I didn't actually say who I'm thinking. I'm just going to say FaZe. I'm just going to go out there and say it. I know it's the popular one, and I imagine people at home are saying the same thing. They're just confident. They know what to do. They're flexible. They can adapt to anything.
I mean, it's a good prediction. So it's up right now, and it looks like everybody agrees with you for the most part.
Amazing. 24%. So everyone's with me. I count as a percent, so I'm also going to say FaZe 25%. There you go. FaZe, Liquid in second. Secret 6%. That's actually really impressive. I feel like Secret will get the popular vote. How can you not love Secret, especially Papaya, that face?
They got a strong support contingent coming out of South America, so I think that'll go up throughout the day as we watch them play. Vitality only at 6%, a little disappointing. Hopefully they prove me right and pick up a few more as the day goes on, but honestly, not a ton of huge surprises on there. Liquid and FaZe.
Knights with 8% after their portrait here, of course. Very confident players, very monotone. There you have the eyes on the prize, so I'm excited to see what these guys can bring as well.
Well, we're nearly ready to get into the first game, you'll be pleased to hear. But we can't get into that game without meeting our casters. Demon and Matrim, how are you doing, guys?
Doing very well. Finally getting games underway.
I know.
You and me have been chomping at the bit back here. First up, Matt, who do you think is going to take it? Let's get our predictions out there.
To be honest, it's going to be rough to say. I think that I might actually lean into Liquid for the first round.
For first round? See, I kind of have a feel that Kinguin are going to do something in the first round.
That's where I was torn. It was that, or like, I know, like I can already tell we're in North America. I know all the North American fan base is going to get onto me about that one, but I don't know. I'm feeling Liquid right now. I got to have some faith in Ibiza.
It's all about unleashing the Gaxi, really, isn't it, with Kinguin? So, should we get into it, boys? Should we have a look? See what happens?
Well, let's see how it goes. Whether Kinguin do unleash Gaxi or whether Larson steps up. I am Lee D-Man Smith, and joining me is Matt, aka Matrim. And game number 1 underway. We're going to be joining you for the first 3 games. Of course, Richard and Pansy are going to be bringing you the last 3 throughout the day. But a long way to go. A lot of action to be played tonight.
I love the first couple of rounds specifically because this is whenever you get a feel for where everybody's dropping at. It's not kind of like too set in stone. We're going to have a lot of people that are going to be coming in straight off the BYOC, coming in, trying to like make a name for themselves. We've got a lot of unsigned teams inside of here. So it's going to be really interesting to see where we could see some contested drops coming into play. If we might see some people forced out of places that they thought that they were going to be going to. There's a lot of cool factors that come in these first couple of rounds.
Well, the game is about to get underway. We're just waiting for the countdown to kick off. You guys can see it on the main screen there. I can tell you the flight path, it's fairly decent. It's just sort of south of Yasnaya going down to Primorsk. It's not a bad flight path overall for everyone, so it kind of will split it. It will make Georgipol a little tricky, so I'm interested to see where Optic go, of course, who have come out of the BYOC. Ordinarily would be up in North Georgipol. They may have to change it.
There are a lot of squads here that really enjoy going to Georgipol, be it north or south.
Kingwin definitely going to be south.
Yeah, and so I think you can still get to it. North George, like you said, is going to be the problem. Also, Severny tends to be a very popular spot to drop at. It tends to be safe, and you can tend to scare people away from it. One of the things that we should note is military base is actually pretty close along the drop path that we're looking at right now. So we might actually see some people like opt out and do a quick audible and move down towards military base or Novo.
Well, something we should definitely talk about, obviously, for game number 1 is, I guess, as much as I'd say it, the random factor. And I don't mean the game, I mean the teams. None of these guys have scrimmed yet. You got the 5 guys that have come out of BYOC. You've got North America, you've got Europe, you've even got South America in there. There's a lot of people that are unsure of exactly where they're going to go. Now, you know that, say, FaZe is going to be Milta Power. You know Vitality's going Milta. You know Kingwin are going to be in South George. You know there's a number of teams. You know Tempo's going to be over on the West Coast. All these things are known. But there is an unknown factor of teams could decide, you know what, I want that. Particularly open, in effect. Like, we could see a couple of teams go in there thinking, oh, hang on, a quick divert, change direction. The plane is in the air, ladies and gentlemen. We know where the Knights are going. They're going to be the first out of the plane, along with Envy. Envy look like Kameski Stalba. The Knights going down in towards their standard loot drop around the Povka mansion, etc. FaZe are going to be long dropping way down into Milta. You can see Vitality, they're all heading out. Liquid going over to Yasnaya. Sort of standard stuff so far. Expect to be seeing Dignitas going north, but I'm also seeing Kingwin coming out early, so they're going to be looking to try and hoover the same vehicles up of Dignitas.
It's going to be really interesting to see how people potentially push over towards the northwestern area of the map. We're going to see potentially a lot of drops down for vehicles as fast as possible.
Look at Sosnovka.
I know we're seeing a lot of people push over into this area. Looks like we might have some people going towards the military base. We also have a lot of people around Milta, specifically the Lipo areas you can make out as well. Envy seems to have the right idea, just cutting all the way north and getting away from everything right now.
Wildcard going to be down, way down in Primorsk, so Sosnovka's going to be potentially a clash. You can see Nova going down there, along with the boys, the mixed team, which is Godres, of course, with a couple of guys from FlyQuest, Patcaps in there as well as...
Look at this. We've already got it busting out over here at Pachinki. We have 2 guys that came in from the BYOC coming through. That's going to be Totality and Rusky lining up on each other. Sharky's already got himself a pistol coming, chasing down.
But he's
taken down by Smithy.
Oh, you're so confident. He got the pistol early, but Smitty manages to get himself in the hand of the M16.
Look at how separated right now Rusky is. You can see that way off in the distance, we've got Nop Nop that's pushed off on the side. 3 members of Totality is around him. He doesn't have a really good spot that he can loot at, and it seems like they know exactly where he's at, and they're coming after him.
Yeah, Purdy's staring straight down that way. Of course, both these, certainly Totality, they did very well. I believe they topped the BYOC coming through, so certainly did very well in that one. Reno's getting the hell out of Pachinki. Going straight up towards the church, trying to get it out as far as he can. Not you can see he's down the south. So they really split out already. Where's the 3rd member? Okay, he's up in north. He's up in the garage station up in the north of Pachinki.
Oh, so, and look at this circle that's come into play. Going way up into the northeastern section. So naturally, Envy is definitely rewarded for their odd path that they chose to go into. While there's not a lot of loot up there, they get prime position to start off and claim locations. Everybody else is going to have to push off. And look at how many people are on Military Base Island.
Yeah, that was where Nova went down to, along with the boys from Godres. You can see Larson down here in the buggy early on. Kingwin on the move. Of course, they had to secure some vehicles fairly early on. They have managed to finally arrive in Georgipol. I can see Vardy's down there at the moment. He's the only one from Kingwin. The rest of the team working their way up. Miraku thinks he's in Miami Vice. He's working his way down the river in his speedboat on his own. So they're all going to be getting in. That's fairly safe. South Georgipol, you can see Georgia completely empty right now. So Optic, we expected them to maybe go there. They've chosen the end to go Rozhok. it's open territory, right? This is what we were talking about. First map, you don't really know where everyone's going to be.
Here's the problem with it, though. We can see that everybody from Queen Kingwin is making a hard push over towards Georgia Pool. They're going to get over there. There's no one over there, but they're going to have to get the loot and get out very quickly because the circle is on the other side of the map from them.
Well, Vitality, no surprises. Down inside Milta, Team Secret alongside them. They've been on lands together a bunch of times. We know that Secret will go over towards the farm side, try and get as much loot as quick as they can, and probably expect to see them rotate in early. Here you can see FaZe, they're over on the Milta power station. Kind of a standard setup for them. Nobody really challenges them anymore unless they're LGD, right?
This seems to be like one of the confirmed factors that we know in life. Vitality is going to go towards Milta. We're going to see FaZe over at Milta Power. Secret's pretty much going to go farm. All of those guys are pretty nice neighbors with each other unless one of the BYOC teams decides to kind of go down there and contest inside of it. Everything's kind of stabilized right now. Everybody's just trying to get what loot that they can, try to push themselves into this mid game. So trying to do a quick look around. We do have the tempo guys you can see that are over in Gatka. This is a very common strategy from them. They separate out into ones. While it's very dangerous, if another squad drops on top of them, they can just instantly take out member after member, just chaining back behind it. But there is a little bit of strength that comes in it since they're so separated out. Even if they do lose a member, they can still loot and regroup at later stages.
Yeah, the West Coast run, and actually the West Coast is fairly empty. Does suit where the playing path was. Wildcard down in Primorsk got themselves fairly safe ground. You can see just off in the distance was Space Station, who came through the BYOC as well. So they're kind of in and around Ferry Pier, just up the coastline. So very safe start to the game. Just that one single kill we caught earlier on in Pachinki.
And it should be noted that the rest of Rusky, that's going to be Squad 16, has managed to get out of Pachinki. They were in the northern area. They pushed up. Looks like they're going towards Ruins. They're hitting those areas right in between School and Pachinki itself. Ooh. We do have Liquid that's posted up around Yasnaya. It looks like Caden's on the move already.
Does he want to go for one of these double drops, or is he just trying to secure himself? There's an M24 fat crate there. No scope in it, though. You kind of want to scope, really. But you're going to be happy just for the level 3 armor, really, overall. It looks like Abita's actually going for that one. So if that's the northern one, I can see Caden's going there as well as Abita. Abita 100% is going for that one.
That's a full commit. That's pretty safe, all things considered. You're not going to expect too many people to be in that area. The one that's off a little bit to the eastern area could be a little bit more rough to get to. I think Caden saw that somebody was going for it, and he's just going to back off. And there is a lot of loot inside of that.
Yeah, Abita's going to be happy. It's the AUG. I think he'd be happy with the M24. Looks like James might be going for that one over to the side. We can see Caden. He's going to have the overall view of this. You can see over the rocks, but probably won't commit for it. He's a long way from the rest of his team. They're all sort of splitting around Kameshki up towards Stauber way. So he's kind of on his own at the moment, just trying to secure himself this compound for his team.
It looks like he's just kind of playing a scout role around the Stauber mountainside. There's a lot of little plateaus that you can play around Stauber, so he's coming down trying to get as much information as he can. But it looks like Jims has managed to sneak by him, didn't reveal himself, and he's going to be able to get over towards that loot fairly easily and probably be able to disengage out. Now notice as well, Dig is actually in this area and is coming up right next to him.
Well, they're going to see whether Adam gets close. I mean, this is a sought-after compound, but it's going to be very easy for him to spot people there. So what he's doing, he's pulling up close, taking a peek at exactly who's around. They won't have vision just yet, because it's in and around them over the other side of the mountain. We can see, of course, the name tags. They obviously have no clue.
Well, it's so smart at this stage, specifically if everybody's committing to a potential Stauber game. Sure, there's a lot of sightlines that you can play in those plateaus we're talking about there, but they're really hard to navigate. So you want to be one of the first teams to get in there, so that way you can get control over the area, use your scopes, shoot anybody that comes in. So any of the teams that can get loot very quickly are going to try to get in some form of position and pray that it might be a Stauber game, so that way they can get control over that area. Because what they don't want is they don't want it to be in that area west of Stauber, because that's just a no man's land over there of just wide open plains. Sure, there's a couple of buildings that they've added over there, but it is so scary to play in that area.
Voxic's very close to where Liquid, Scoob and Jeeves are actually just changing out weapons. You just saw Jeeves being given the M24. Wookie Bookie coming in with Dignitas, so they're going to be posted on the hillside. The Knights look like they're going to be creeping in where Voxic seems to have got himself positioned. Expect the rest of the Knights to join them there. FaZe Clan slowly on the move. Expect them to probably base themselves right on the edge of the circle by Prison. That tends to be one of their pull-up locations. They'll start working that way. You can see Secret. Now, interestingly enough, we've seen Team Secret before setting up a camp for Vitality. It's totally possible that could happen again. I was talking to Papyrus on the same plane with him from Houston to Austin, and he was basically saying, you know, look, everybody knows Vitality's roots. I wonder, obviously they didn't just make it into PGI finals, they had a rough tournament trying to make it through that. That was last weekend. I hope they've maybe looked at that, took that upon themselves and thought, okay, we need to change something.
Well, specifically in a circle like this, there's not a lot of easy entrance points that you can move into. So if you can get that early ground positioning, you can really cut off a lot of these pathways. Like if you look where Dig's posted up right now, just to the east of them, you're going to see that Dignitas is going to be in that general vicinity. That closes down almost all entrance points across for Stolber. You're going to have to kind of work your way up through tree lines and block line of sight and pray nobody can see you. But we already have Valiate that's also moving into a position over here. This is going to become a point where if anybody comes into this zone, they're going to have to try to go up a hillside in a vehicle or jump out of it and just under fire and duress the whole way.
I'm going to assume they're going to pull up into that sort of scrapyard. You can see Bahawaka and Hetra a long way away. They're going to take the compound just over the bridge as well. Nobody will ever goes in that. It's that compound just to the west of Dignitas. Nobody ever goes in there. It's a terrible compound, really. Hippok is engaging, sees Papaya coming over the bridge. He's going to try and get a couple of shots, sort of peacocking to basically say, get the hell out of here. The Secret will just pull up into that compound just to the side of Rozhok. Knights have got themselves safe. Liquid gone for the 2-2 split. FaZe have actually pulled up on the coastline as well. So they've gone for the coastline north of Lipovka. So they've actually gone a bit further north, expecting maybe the hills of Stauber. The circle continuing to shrink down. There's still teams way down on Sosnovka. You can see Optic, they're going to regroup and get themselves together. But just about everyone's starting to rotate.
That's so risky. Whenever you have to put 3 people inside of one vehicle and a Dacia at that, and you're having to run across, it could be so potentially deadly.
The guys from Space Station are very close to Vitality, actually, down the south as well. We can see everybody starting to get around. I don't think they're going to engage, but they're certainly here in the vehicles looking at the state of them. Yeah, they really want to have a pop at this. Vitality are going to come back into vision any second now. It's a long way away. They're going to pull out the scopes and see if they can go for it. No, choosing not to go for the shots. They're happy. They're right on the edge of the circle there, so it looks like Space Station probably, it seems they're limited on vehicles, actually, judging by the positioning, because they did go Ferry Pier start, so they may be limited because the guys from Nova and Godres also dropped in and around there.
It's all going to come down to like the transition points. This is the really risky point inside the game. Kind of call it the migration phases. Everybody's just trying to cut out their like little safe zone that they can play through these circles at. A lot of long-range pot shots, but it's going to be the guys in the vehicles that are coming in late could have some trouble. As you can see, that Jim's already got a line of sight on somebody.
We should mention we're on patch 13 here, so this is the 88 damage M24. Obviously, it has had a change in the live patch that you guys are playing now at home, which has been taken down to 79 damage. Is no longer a crate drop. You may notice, obviously, it was a crate. Team Secret, they've got nowhere to go at the moment. They're running into no man's land. The warehouse is where they're trying to get, which actually Kinguin were en route to as well, coming up the other side of the hillside. You can see Team Number 14 in the distance. They're trying to creep their way around there. Instead, they're going to have to pull away. It does look like the Mad Risky have forced them into that warehouse. Now, Kinguin are going to be hearing those shots, seeing those shots, and really having to divert their plan. Meanwhile, Envy and Dignitas, they're taking shots back and forth between each other. We saw them in there a long time ago. FaZe Clan, we can see here, they're just on the coastline north of Lipovka. So they've got themselves pretty well geared. Haxeti fully geared out on that SKS. And with the patch being heavy DMR friendly, I expect to see almost all players with those DMRs. And oh, look at this rotations to the south.
We've got so many squads that are coming right up on top of each other. Totality is kind of at a gatekeeping point right now. You can see Tempo Storm is coming up right next to him. They've got the vehicles, and yes, Totality turns around, takes some shots over your boy Dre, trying to make it off to the side there. Now he lines up over towards Maluk. You can just hear everybody from Totality just lighting him up, and that is going to be your boy Dre getting shot down and killed. Trying to find that next target. Maluk's just trying to find somewhere to go. Jumps out of his vehicle. He just doesn't feel it's safe, and now he's kind of caught down in that little divot.
He must have lost the wheel. Something certainly forced him to spin out. You can see Smitty, he's trying to get himself an angle down the ravine there. Zampa has actually pulled up. He pulls out, and the Car 98 takes down Lost there. So it's a knock either way at the moment as Smithy continues to try and get the angle on this hillside. Tero does manage to get Maluke down, so he was down in the valley there, and I got a feeling that Zampa and Bank are finally going to give up on this one.
They're just on the other side of that hill. They still have the capabilities to just get out of dodge. Yeah, you can see they're instantly jumping the vehicles. They're like, this is too risky. This is just the first round. We need to make sure we secure as many points as we can. They're actually opting into going back out into blue just to get away from this because they need to go back across that bridge and cut around and get in the northern area of the map.
Now, while that was all happening, Nova have managed to catch a glimpse of it. They've actually pulled up, because obviously Totality was taking shots on them. That draws the attention. Nova have actually snuck into schools. So Locknarb and Landum taking pot shots, I think on the roof there maybe. They were taking shots over towards Interrogate there.
They need to get out of here. This isn't inside the safe circle. Sure, it's fine to set up and potentially get some kills out of it, but you need to go secure a safe location at this point. You can see everybody's already trying to move into a more condensed point. We've moved just a little bit down. Stolber seems to still be in the center of it. Yasnaya as well. We also do have that big lake that's holding up a section of the map.
So FaZe took the route to go swing around north. They're now actually above the Knights. The rotations came out. Richie there who's been knocked. I don't know whether that was a fat finger or a knock itself. Either way, he's down. It's getting very crowded now in the hills of Stauber and Yasnaya. Now, we saw Yasnaya finish in the PGI qualifiers for Europe just at the weekend. It was hot, aggressive action, very impressive stuff from FaZe, who came out on top of that one. This time, they don't really have the positioning. Meanwhile, Matt Rusky taking shots. He's trying to back away. It's Optic that are taking shots on him, so he's trying to get himself a position. Nova are coming back in on Vitality. It is getting very cozy. That's a decent hillside there where Nova are pulled up.
This is going to be a very interesting fight between Nova and Vitality. Nova tends to play very aggressive. Like, whenever they see somebody, they don't care. They'll take a push. If we see any downs come out of this for either one of these duos, we could potentially see a firefight happening across this hillside. Looks like Nova might not feel too safe in their positioning, and they're going to pull back, which is, I guess it's round one, so you want to play a little bit safer than normal, but that seems a little different than how they normally play. Usually they just let Richie go to town and just go crazy shooting people.
They're very strong compounds that Vitality hold there, but Nova, they need to be careful. You can see Totality pulling up behind them. They're still outside the circle. They're not in the white zone yet. It's going to take a long creep in. Now, someone we haven't talked about is Godres. They are finally coming inside the blue zone. They've been down in Nova for so long. Novo, I should say, not Nova. They've not been in Nova. That's obviously the new FlyQuest guys. They have a lot of people signing new contracts, so don't be surprised if we mix them up with FlyQuest, because there's a couple of them in there. But Godres is the team they qualified through the BYOC, and
that's just kind of the fun of a BYOC, though. You know, get some of your friends together. Sure, you might be able to not be able to get the whole team there, but just get all the guys inside the community, go down and play together. You know, most of these pros go and they play matchmaking together all the time. So nice to see some bonds happening outside the game.
Where's Totality going to go? So they go north, they're getting shot at by Nova. If they keep on going, they're going to run straight into Mad Rusky. So they've got to divert from the road, but there's really nowhere to go for these guys. Smithy going to try and come in. You can see the shots, hear the shots, pinging in and around that Dacia. Little Prodigy bails out. That's Mad Rusky having to get them. Oh, no. Little Prodigy, he must have fat-fingered or rolled it, because he's miles away from anyone way down south. Totality do pull up, and now they've got the angle, right? They're above Nova, and they've got clean shots on them.
And this is the risky part of it. Whenever you see everybody that's moving in these late circles, Totality is just lining up and just peppering bullets into Nova. They were in a position to do some damage to Vitality, but now they've had to full-on retreat, and they have to figure out how they're going to get out of this. Meanwhile, the circle is closing down, about to reveal the new position. Totality's just taking shots at everybody that's around them right now.
Poonage for Godres is actually trying to go down and revive Lil Prodigy. They're way outside the circle. We're about to hit circle 3. This blue zone's going to punish them. I think they're making a costly error in a big tournament like this. Meanwhile, we see Richie got perfect angle, SKS. It's just about the gun they want. And Nova, you know, while they pulled up and had a good position over Vitality, now they're in a really precarious position. You can see Locknob's moved up and secured the gas station. The circle about to shrink in. And circle 3, it's going to start pumping on those guys that are outside. You can see they have just snuck in with 2 players down south.
You can see that there's that fight that's happening between Totality and Nova that you were just talking about. That's kind of one of the war of attrition fights. You've got the river that's running through the middle. They know that they can't get any kills based off of it, that they're just trying to get downs out of it. They're just trying to burn armor, maybe get them to burn a whole bunch of ammo. Any of these things can be influencer for later rounds. You can see that Nova really feels under pressure right now. And yes, we are just continuing to shrink down. We still got Stallbury Hillside inside of it, and we still got Yasnaya inside the circle.
It's a full donut. It's continuing to be center circle, so it's going to force everybody to just squash in a little closer. 60 people alive so far as we start to creep in. Oh, Interrogate. He's got open fields to cross. He's trying to get to the rocks. He's Purdy. You can see he's having to use the smoke down. He does get himself behind. Pulls out the Mini 14. The smoke will give him the cover that he needs. And now, with Totality, they are on the other side. They need to actually move into Nova. So this is going to bite them in the ass if they don't get it to knock soon.
Well, they have to go across, and they have to fight through several squads in order to get there. Nova is just the first of many squads they're going to have to go through here. So they're going to have to come out, trying to figure out how to make it across this water or potentially go over the bridge, but the bridge is a death trap as well. Finally, Nova jumps in their vehicles. They're going to go for a reposition, and during a lot of this conversation, we've had so many squads moving to Yasnaya.
So this is the choice right now. Oh, dear. Landum and Locknub, that's not good. That's not good. That's in the fields. That's a flip strike.
That's a motorcycle somewhere. Yeah. That happens. It happens to everybody every once in a while. But
F for respects in chat, guys.
Feels bad.
Where do you go right now? Zampa's trying to figure out that exactly out. Do you go the hills of Stauber? Do you go to Yasnaya? Do you risk it? Because there's a big valley in between. Hacksteady gets himself the knock there. Zampa going to be the man down. Vehicle exploded. Has to secure the kill. Has 12 points going FaZe Clan's way. Well, the hills are very busy. Yasnaya is very busy. There's no safe ground.
The big problem with it is there's this wide open field in front of everything, and Knights, Texas, living up. We saw him in that coming there. Remember, he said the fact that he wanted to be in the top 3 fraggers, and he just nailed himself one right there.
And that's Tempo Storm, first team going out in 16th place. Totality have managed to get themselves across the fields of Yasnaya, and obviously with Nova basically killing themselves in the fields, it's kind of given them that open territory. You can see Nerf and Richie have managed to get across, but they've got Space Station Gaming right on top of them. Wildcard are actually going up the hills in towards Envious. They're trying to blast themselves in there. Looks like Kingwin have found Team Secret as well. That's up in the northern hills, North Stauber. They're trying to get around the side. Smitty in all sorts of trouble. He's going to get executed by Gaxi as they continue to hold the high ground.
See that a lot of these squads are trying to get the high ground position at the very top of Stolber. Meanwhile, Totality popping back over here with them. Remember, they don't have vehicles, so they're just going to have to hot-foot it. We talked about that there's a lot of squads that they have to go through here. So they're managing to make use of this little dip. You can see that Liquid's in the yellow buildings right on top of them, but they're just playing on the other side of this road here, trying to make their way across.
Hacksteady moving very close to Wildcard. In and around those rocks area. Envious are directly above them to the right as well, so really tricky. He has to see him.
Maybe he didn't. I mean, like, okay, he's looking back over that direction. He has to line up on him. He's probably feeding information, trying to get somebody else come from him. But
he's got no one else with him,
yeah, FaZe has too many other people that they're contending with in another part of the map. So his forward scouting is beneficial because he's feeding tons of information. But every shot that he could potentially take here is just a dead giveaway, as he could have so many people spin on him.
He's securing it. We can see, of course, that there's only 2 there. The rest of Wildcard that are inside Yasnaya, so they've gone for the 2-2 split, trying to cover off exactly where their circle is going to swing.
But at this point, it's nerve-wracking for everybody. Look at how small the circle is, and there's 55 people still alive. So at this point, you have to assume that there's a squad over every single rock.
So Hackstead is backed away. He knows that there's a team up in the hills. The guys from God Res are still just creeping in, so they've managed to get in. So everybody inside the circle now, just Secret going to creep out. They're looting the rest of Stauber. They'll be inside the circle any second now. So where is this 4th circle going to go? It either goes south to Yasnaya, or it goes to the hills where Envy have been sat for the entirety so far.
If it goes off in the middle and just pops right across that field, this is going to be a bloodbath. And it looks like it's going to lean across the hillside. Envy with that early position, Dig with that early position, really getting paid off. They've got a lot of plateaus that they can play around. Now it's going to be about just lining up sites as all of these guys are going to have to make their way in.
Look at the map, please, because there is everybody's starting to come out. Yasnaya is, everybody's making the mad dash. They need to try and get positional play early. Liquid's going to try and dash out. You can see Vitality making the move. Totality, remember, they ran on foot, so they've got no early quick path to get across like these guys. Mad Rusky coming up behind Liquid. Wildcard, you can see trying to get the position. They tried to get the position early. Vitality blasting up the hillside. Monkey acrobatic skills dashing up, but he's running straight in towards Envious, who tried to hold the ground as much as they can. Everybody's trying to find a little nook and cranny.
And looks like he managed to find somewhere, getting a little bit of airtime that really paid off. You can see Jim's just trying to line up on Vitality that's next to him. Everybody's just trying to take pot shots off in the distance. It's actually Caden that gets it down onto one of the Vitality members with Shiv going down inside of this. This is just going to be chaos. As you can see, Arax is trying to come on that. He just gets knocked down by Wildcard way off in the distance.
Vitality in all sorts of trouble here. You can see Monkey and Shadow. They're basically pinned behind the tree. Shadow with nothing left. They're the only 2 members. One grenade here would absolutely down them. A Roxace has been finished off. Monkey's trying to get himself safe and secure. Mex has been down as well. The Knights have engaged with FaZe on the side of the cliffs as well.
They're just right on top of each other.
Monkey as well. Monkey down. That's all sorts of trouble. Just 1 man remaining for Vitality. Meanwhile, first FaZe pinned behind the tree by Voxic and Kramer.
There's just nowhere he could go. Knights managed to get the down on top of this. This is turning so bad for FaZe so quickly now. They're just trying to retreat out. You can see Jimty's running way off in the distance, just trying to make it back over to his friends. Remember, we saw several members of FaZe that were trying to reposition down earlier. Hacksteddy's off by himself, but it's just everybody that's playing around this plateau. Envy can see everything that's coming in, and Vitality is just getting torn apart down there.
Well, FaZe have had to go split. Yemty's gone north. Hacksteddy's gone south. Hacksteddy's being shot at now. He's trying to blast out of there. Vitality are done and out. They go down in 15th place. Scoot, meanwhile, picks up a kill. Hacksteady going down. FaZe kind of in all sorts of trouble. It's just Yemty left alive. What a surprise, I think you say in the chat there, because everybody's used to seeing that. Meanwhile, Liquid, they're dealing with Totality down the south. We see Space Station trying to creep their way up the hills here in towards Wildcard. It is a messy engagement in game 1. When you see the hills of Stauber getting pulled into the circle, you know these are the sort of engagements you're going to get.
When you get a Stauber circle with as strong as DMRs right now, it's just chaos, as you can just shoot anybody that's coming in. You can see D-Master over here actually opting into the Ump, which is super strong as well. And he's got Wildcard right up on top of him. He knows exactly where they are. One of the things I do want to point out is we did see Liquid manage to push out of those yellows that they were at beforehand. Still 4-man strong and have just been fighting their way through. You can see that all the squads next to them have gotten taken down, but Wildcard's now taking a couple of shots, as well as it's just everybody is just trying to fight down from the high ground and just shoot any squad that's below them.
Optic got themselves above Dignitas, but oh, quick pin from Vard. Manages to find Valiant there and takes him down. And this is what it's all about. It's all the layers of the layers of the layers, hillsides above hillsides, and one person you think you're safe, and next thing Kinguin comes over the hill above you, and that was the risk they took. They chose to stay on the edge of the circle, on the top of the hillside, and it's looking like Kinguin have a really good position. The circle's continuing to shrink. There's still players in the edge of Yasnaya. They're risking it as long as they can because it's such an open dash to get across.
We are watching one of the most vicious games of King of the Hill right now I've ever seen, as it's just the guys on top firing down, but we only lost 10 inside of that one. So we've still got another circle shrink that's going to come into it, and this is going to get even more bloody. I wouldn't be surprised if we see probably half the amount of players drop off in this next circle.
Vard, and this is it. There's teams fighting teams, and Bahawaka, you can see Optic and Dignitas basically on top of each other, scrumming one another. Meanwhile, down below, he's got a nade.
So many people, he's got the nade. He's trying to sneak up on this. He knows exactly where Dig is. They've been loud for so long, cooking it,
it's going straight to Adam.
It's going to land right back behind Adam. Is it going to get off? Oh, it's going to get the knock with it.
Meanwhile, look at the rest of the team. They push down the hill on them, so Dignitas swing around, and the rest of Optic are sweeping in. They're going to try and come around the corner. Uncivil unloads on Valiant, takes him down. Hedra comes around the side, gets him back down, but Gustav is there to back him up. He gets the backside of Bahawaka. Gustav finally goes down. Hitbox on the side, forces Wookie Bookie inside. He's the last man standing for Dignitas as Optic sweep in.
You can see that they want to push forward on it, but they're just afraid to take on top of this hill because they don't know who could shoot at him from this point forward. So Wookie Bookie gets a little bit of a reprieve. You can see Smokes are now coming out, trying to get Bahawaka back up. We've got 23 seconds before the next circle comes up. Everybody's popping off the side. You can see it's going to be Godrez off to the side, caught up in a fight with the Knights.
The Knights are taking names right now. They've managed to wipe them out. Remember, they've already dealt with FaZe Clan at one point as well, but everybody's going to move in. Envious have had the circle the entirety of time from circle 1. The Knights, they've got 5 kills and counting as they deal with Space Station Gaming. They're creeping in. Kinguin, they're sweeping off to the western side towards Team Secret, who need to make the way south towards the Knights.
Liquid is still 4-man strong. They've been managing to play very safe, but they're still managing to rack up a lot of kills. Envy sure has been in this position for quite a while now, but the problem with it is they've been in this one spot. We've been seeing them have to take a lot of shots, and it gets really risky. Now popping over here with Wookie Bookie as he takes a lot of damage, just gets sprayed down. Hypoc finishing that off, so finally Optic get control over that area, but they still have to run into the safe circle now because that whole fight was happening outside.
And they've got to push straight into the back of Liquid, who've been hearing these shots the entirety of time. Dignitas go out in 13th place. Kinguin has just lost a man. They were up in the hillside. Remember, Envious, they've been sitting there just taking shots in their safe territory the entire time. I've not seen one of them get knocked yet either, as they managed to get Vard down as well. He's been killed off there. Yemty gets involved. Yemty's been found. He gets Larson down. Yemty's still going for FaZe Clan. I don't know how or why, but he's managing to be the little snake in the grass once again. The deadly fin strikes.
Well, we have Secret that's right up on top of Knights right now. You can see Voxic is right on the other side of that hill, playing around the rock. One of the things you may note is we usually tend to see a lot of things that are happening inside with vehicles. You just can't take vehicles up this hillside, so everybody is just having to run on foot, shot to shot here. So we're popping over here with Optic as they're about to make their way in.
FaZe Clan go down in 12th place. Yemty been dealt with by Envy once again there as Optic try and work their way around. Space Station Gaming, they're dealing with the Knights. The Knights get eliminated as well. They go in 10th place. It's Team Secret that deal with them, along with Space Station Gaming, kind of wedged in there as Liquid continue to move with 4.
You can see the Skoom is caught up. He's trying to get a line of sight over on Envy, but they have Optic that's coming up right next to him. I'm talking like 10 feet back behind them. You can see Baja's just on the other side of that hillside there. You can see Liquid is trying to figure out where they want to go off on top of this. Everybody's just trying to break line of sight off of Envy because, like you were talking about, they were holding so
the Mad Rusky getting taken down. Totality managing to find the 2 there. Space Station swing out. A Wildcard who took that risk. You saw Hacksteady staring at them. They took the risk to go 2-2. They now have the circle center, and Envious finally need to move out of their home. Purdy deals with Mad Rusky. That is them going down, I believe, as they try and come out. Liquid are being lit up on the top there as Totality try and push on around. This is down the south end of the circle with Totality. They're fighting out against the guys from Mad Rusky.
It's just been a bloodbath down in that lower area because everybody's just trying to fight as they make their way through. Finally, we do see that Bisa does go down inside of the fight over here. Envy's about to have to make their way down the hillside, so they're going to have to push out and around because they don't want to go down that cliff, and that's going to put them right in front of Secret.
Venerated making his way south. Secret with Fiend just tucked in the corner. They only have one alive. They're going to go over the brow of this hill straight towards Space Station Gaming and Wildcard. Wildcard have had this safe ground, but now look at Envy. They're all peeking over the brow of the hill straight towards Wildcard. Getting a little look down there. 22 still alive in the 6th circle as it continues to shrink in. And this looks like Envious. Are they going to find Fiend?
This is so dangerous. With Fiend, he doesn't want to give away his position. He doesn't want to take any shots, but he wants to pop back up. At some point, he might end up having to make a move. Envy's trying to get out in front of him. Ticking down, I think that might be all she wrote.
He's got 3 first aids. He's got to take 1. Okay, now he's going to move. Now look,
there's nobody's
going to be looking towards him at the moment. He's managed to sneak in behind them, gets in the rock, and he's safe again. Team Secret sneaking the way in. Nova have been eliminated. Team Secret, the only kill they got, it was killing poor old Yempty.
Well, we still see a prolonged fight that's happening off to the side where it's going to be Liquid lined up against Optic. These guys have gone back and forth in several events together, and you know that they want to take each other down. Optic's coming up and having to force their way inside the safe circle. Blue's now coming in right on Samty's heels.
Optic are biting on the back of Team Liquid all the way down this hillside, so it's going to feel good if they can manage to land some of the shots, but Samty, you can see they're not really managing to clash, so Team Secret have gone down, so poor old Fiend didn't manage to last this one out there. Now, James making use of this vehicle compound that's been set up for him. I don't think it was their vehicle compound, in all honesty. I think they've managed to look out on that one. Scoob's been knocked around the side there. James popping shots off with the AKM. He's caught between a hard rock here with Totality below them and Optic above them. It's a full North American sandwich.
They just have nowhere that they can play off of right now. You can see that Samty's going for a reposition, potentially to try to go cut off the guys that are on Totality right now. Everybody on the hillside still trying to figure out how they're going to make their way down. Wildcard still trying to make the push off the hillside, but they have so many of these little one-off people that are just hiding back behind them. They can pop up at any moment and just decimate a squad.
Space Station Gaming still have 4 alive. Wildcard still have 4 alive. They both have decent circle position while everybody else is fighting for position. Wildcard finally taking a peek towards Envious. They did get a single knock a moment ago, but they've managed to get the revive back out there, so Envious still with 4 alive.
Oh, the nade's coming out over this side. Is it going to hit? Does some damage.
Doesn't blow them off, though. Doesn't blow them off the rock. That would have been the big damage there. Pride managing to keep themselves alive as they push out there. Tume gets taken down. Check shooter. And is that going to be the goal? It is. Venerated comes over the top side. Manages to get a push around the side. Will get himself 1. Has to back away. Gets a little cheeky peek over the top there as Hip-Hop tries to get a little peek around Pride in all sorts of trouble. Is he going to go for the revive?
He wants it at this point, and you can see that Jesse Law and everybody's going to have to go for a res back on the outside of this.
They got the double knock, so he got saved out there. I think it was Sharp Shot that managed to get himself a double. And if they get a little nade over the top there, they could catch them both out in that smoke.
This is going to allow the rest of Wildcard all to get up on top of each other, so now they're all coming up. Pride steps forward and just get instantly dropped around the rocks, but does feed information over. See, Tamai's coming up over this, just firing the fire down inside of it. Doesn't push back over to the side of it, and that's going to be all she wrote for Envy.
While this is happening, Space Station are using this. They're hearing the gunshots. They're coming up. Team Liquid with 3 alive inside the circle. It's going to be Wildcard getting the backs pushed by Space Station. They're going to be wedged between Team Liquid and Space Station as they come on the rocks.
So Space Station's doing a slow creep off to the side of this, but they could come up, like you were saying, right behind Wildcard. This is where the sneaky plays come in. We only have 11 people up and alive. We do have 1 squad that has managed to get right inside the circle, but Space Station Vexel does see him taking some pot shots now, and everybody's going to spin back around onto him, and that's just going to instantly drop him.
Team Liquid are going to be watching this one, licking their lips. They know they've got a really good position. The Desk are going to be very happy about it because they're in prime position to take this one. 7 kills for Wildcard. They've had a really good position so far. Space Station have been taking names down on the edge of Yasnaya as well, so both these teams have picked up a lot of kills. Remember, 12 points per kill. No helmet for Tume as he tries to go aggressive.
He's trying to step forward, and he just takes so much damage because he does not have his helmet. He's retreating back. But the whole time this fight's going on, it's going so well for Liquid because they're already in position down at the bottom, just waiting to see who comes out on top of this fight.
10 kills so far for Space Station Game. 120 points secured. Can they go a little higher? 6 kills for Team Liquid here as Samty and James sit on the rocks. They have prime position in the circle right now. They're dead center, and they're just watching this play out. You can see the cheeky shots going off from that M24 he picked up a long time ago there, James, as he tries to track him down the hillside. H-Win in all sorts of trouble, pushed down there in the play zone. 2 of them get knocked. D-Master gets taken down by James, and Space Station just get torn apart by partly the zone and partly Liquid. Now Wildcard pushing down the hill on them.
See, James is trying to line up the shot. If he can get this, that's going to be all she wrote for them. And yes, there we go. Space Station Gaming is down, and now we are down to just Liquid and Wildcard. Wildcard seems to be very aware of where Liquid is at, and Kickstart just gets dropped by Samty.
Tume, the last man standing for Wildcard. Team Liquid realize they're pushing in. The circle is in their favor. They're going to peek around, but they can't go too aggressive like they are now. Tume, he's a very good shot. 9 kills and counting for Team Liquid. 3 versus 1. You've got to feel that Tume's in all sorts of trouble. The rock against him, just waiting for that little peek around the side. Does manage to clip him out. One more shot should do it. Tume has to tuck in and heal.
Okay, now it's important to note that Liquid does have the circle at the direct point, so Wildcard is going to have to push down inside of them. They know that all the pressure's on them. That's how come they're trying to do these peaks. But you can see, Tamai's already lost his helmet. This is going to be so risky and so hard of a push for them to do. As you can see, Liquid's already secured every single corner of that circle, so that way nobody can push down into it.
This is a great little push from Jeems. Tamai's going to have no chance. He's going to peek around the side, the flank, and that's the difference with having the man advantage. I think Tamai just saw him.
He knows that he's there, but again, no helmet. He doesn't have anything he's working with.
One more
he's
touch.
Got to try.
One more touch from Team Liquid, and they will be taking the first chicken dinner. There we go. The play zone does the job for him. And Team Liquid will take the first chicken dinner of DreamHack. Austin, what a great start from them. They had the positions and they had to fight for it all the way down the hill.
Oh, God, that was an amazing round 1. I love Stolber games. We saw so much amazing shots coming through there, so much great positioning, so much synergy coming in from the teams as we saw them have to separate out and come back together. I know the desk is going to have tons of stuff to break down. I got to say, I love it because I called Liquid game 1.
Yeah, big standout for me. Wildcard, they got a lot of kills in there along with Space Station Gaming. North America delivered, but it's Liquid from Europe that take the win.
My word, what a way to start off the first best of 12 of the weekend. And we've got a massive crowd here at DreamHack Austin cheering us all. There we go. There we go. Thanks for joining us, guys. You're awesome. And what a way to kick things off. Talk me through that end game, though. Liquid, Avenger, you're going to be unbearable now. You got that right. You got that prediction right.
I mean, I'm pretty happy with my prediction, of course, but they're first game, first day, like superstars, because they always come out on top. They're so confident. So I'm happy I said Liquid, of course. I'm also happy for the good boys coming through with this. Well, yeah. But also, I mean, it's a circle for them. They should be here. They're in a good position from the start. So I feel like they should be coming out good from this kind of starting circle.
Yeah, exactly. It's right near the loot spot. They get a good circle to start out, a great confidence builder. And honestly, Liquid's one of those teams that once they start strong, once James starts to sort of play his game, and things go out of control, and they tend to snowball all day long. So if I'm the rest of the teams, I'm a little bit worried. But I was really impressed with their play. And then even when we snuck a peek at them while they were playing there at the end, Ibiza got knocked out and was just as connected, making calls for his team, doing a lot of spotting and assists in that last fight. They ran an amazing flank play to get that last kill. So literally from start to finish, Liquid felt like they were on fire.
Well, let's take a look, a dive into your map, because I want to see you break this thing down. Should we start at Pachinki?
Yeah, it's a great spot. So let's go to that one. We actually talked a little bit about Pachinki when this match first started out. And that was, I believe, Rusty and Totality both decided to visit this part of town. Now, normally when you see two teams dropping Pachinki, people abandon. That's not what happened here. In fact, we saw a straight up fight right smack in the middle. That's where Totality decided to land. Rusty called a box play. They dropped somebody here. All right, there we go. Come on. There we are. So they dropped somebody here, they dropped somebody on this side of town, and they dropped somebody north. One of their players decided to go straight to middle and take a fight with Totality. That's where that first one broke out here. An AK went to Totality, a handgun went to Rusky, and they lost their first player. Shark was down. And once that happens, you cannot hold Pachinki. The box play only works if you can loot and then close that box in. With one out, it's not gonna happen. So they did the smart thing. They faded away to 3 separate sides, and they ended up in a completely 1-1-1 sort of loot scenario here. They all went in their own direction. Nothing wrong with that. They went pretty deep into the game because they were smart enough not to force a fight after they lost the initiation.
Yeah, I mean, also, I feel like you don't wanna contest with this, but they did the smart play. They contested and they kind of boxed them in, but still, all the other guys that were in the middle, they Totality completely just drop in the middle and make sure that Pachinki in the middle of Pachinki was theirs.
Rusky wants Pachinki. So in qualifiers and training, they've been doing sort of some cheeky drops, a little bit of Pachinki, a little Watertown, a little here, a little there. I think it was greedy on their part. I expect them to readjust, stay away from Pachinki for a while, probably go out to the Ruins or Watertown maybe instead, and not deal with this. It's too much of a loss in game 1 of a 12-game series.
Well, that was quite the breathless round, but let's have a look at the top 3 PUBG plays. I'm excited to see what makes it, because my word, there were some highlights.
It was an amazing game. game. So number 3 coming in here. And this was pure chaos. It was a really nice fight as everybody sort of tried to take this high ground position. But we joined Uncivil as from Dignitas as he deals with Optic. They had the low ground. He held sort of an angled spray, got the first one, but the rest of the team chain pushed. Unfortunately, they lost someone coming through that doorway. And the fight literally kept going. Optic and Dignitas just one after another until finally, I mean, that was a good 2-minute fight. Now we'll jump over to Wildcard Gaming. Pride gets burnt down. This is where Envious was trying to come over. They had some good peaks, but Tamai kept his angle, got both of them on the peak, got the back knocks when really he didn't have the advantage and was able to execute well for his team. Finally, we get back to Liquid, the Kings themselves, who won that game. James was on fire, whether it was grenades or bullets. This guy didn't seem to be able to miss throughout this match. You can see right there, a beautiful headshot to not kickstart on his backside.
Wow, after that, we should probably take a look at the standings. Let's see how those kill points and those placement points have racked up. So there we can see Team Liquid with their chicken dinner up top. Any surprises there for you in those standings so far?
Not really. When Liquid wins big. That's part of Liquid's MO, right? They go for kills, they go for frags. 10 kills plus a chicken dinner sets them up just so far and away over everybody else. It's going to be a really good start, and I think that they play well. When they have that cushion, that means that they can sort of play their game the rest of the day and not stress out about it. So expect Liquid to continue getting chickens.
And yet Space Station Gaming have only had one experience on LAN so far at PGL. They didn't do that well. Yeah, top 3.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, if it's possible to pull that back up, I want to run through, because the surprise for me was the BYOC teams. They did really, really well in this round. I think we had 3 of them in the top 6, if my memory serves me correctly. Yeah. So only 5 came through the BYOC, and yet they're performing better than most of our invited teams.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the first game, but still, they're warm. They come here prepared and everything, so they're not cold as the other players. The other players haven't been able to play for more than a couple hours. Yep. So these players, they come in warm. They've been playing all day yesterday and today as well.
Well, we'll break things down a bit more after this short break, so do not go anywhere.